Hello and welcome to the Jonesing for Sports podcast. We got a fun one for you guys today. We got a mailbag question. We're going to be addressing that. We love seeing that in the Discord. Also, we're going to talk about the NBA draft lottery. You guys watch that crap? You guys been paying attention to the draft
Not
lottery?
anymore.
That's yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's some shady dealings going on there. And then also we got plenty of other good stuff. I forgot where I'm at here. But just going to be talking about a whole bunch of corruption. We're going to get right into the magic. So with no further ado, let's get into it. And Brandon, you are on with a shower thought, I do believe.
Okay. When I go to sleep at night, I have two kind of like tracks of thoughts that I usually go down. And then one night I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm not sure this is normal. I'm not sure I'm right in the head. And so I was just wondering if you guys had certain like scenarios that you play out in your head that you go to sleep to. My one is I personally think is probably somewhat standard. I often imagine what would I do in an apocalypse scenario.
Standard.
I already know which houses by me I'm going to commandeer. So hopefully, because they're probably Chicago families, so they're probably not gonna be present. So I don't hopefully have to make it ugly or anything. But gonna live on a mansion on a lake, which is exciting. And I'm pretty sure that house has a generator and also access to a boat, because most preferable apocalypse scenario is zombies. And I feel like being in the water is really important.
You say it's the most preferable is zombies?
For me, yeah.
Trav, would you agree with that?
Well, there's some options here. We're ranking.
There's
we got nuclear fallout.
That just sounds awful.
It does. I mean,
we could get hit by an asteroid. There could be aliens.
Oh, okay. We're getting a good list here.
Yeah. I asked because I always thought that zombies would be my preference as well.
Yeah.
But I feel as though it shouldn't be, or at least that we'd be in the minority because of how terrifying that reality would be. But
not on my lake house.
It also depends on the type of zombie. Like, are we talking World War Z, Trav's Desperate People zombies, where like they're sprinting and they can make towers out of like conjoined bodies, or are we talking,
more
Walking Dead
yeah.
stupid zombies that are just going to overwhelm me with numbers? It makes a difference.
I think those ones.
Okay, then I'd say zombies for sure.
I'm going aliens.
You're going aliens?
Will out technology us.
Maybe.
So you're preferring like Cloverfield.
I'm preferring Independence Day, where all of America either dies or all of the world dies or goes down swinging. Where zombies, like, that could be me, and it could be Cody, and you gotta bash our heads in. I know, Brand, you're not gonna bat an eye at it, but
yeah, I'm just gonna say zombie Cody.
There's a difference between zombie Cody and a deer head, Trav. There's a difference, but also, sorry, Code, not even a second chance.
But it's not as enjoyable. Like bashing other random zombies, that's maybe pretty nice. But you see a man, you know that person is on your team. And I think that's why I'm going aliens.
I respect that. Yeah.
I also being a fighter pilot is on my list of best jobs. So, reference there.
You get that from Dad and Grandpa for sure.
I often think that maybe I should have done that. I think that'd have been pretty sick.
Every man should have, only some can.
That's fair.
You ever watch those videos where they show...
That was aggressive.
Point made, Bran. Gosh.
You ever watch those videos where the flight cadets get assigned their career planes?
Yeah.
And then one dude gets assigned like the bomber, the nuke bomber. It's a good video. And probably why it's so popular, because it resonates with what you were saying. Everyone wants to be a pilot.
All of that to say, Cody, if you want to start thinking about these things to help you sleep, usually only takes me a couple minutes of thinking about how I'm going to fortify my lake mansion, and how I'm going to make my Hardings run, to kind of stock up a little bit, fill the freezer, and and usually I take out a few zombies in the process, and I'm asleep. But that's not the weird one. The weird one, this one I don't think anyone does. So do you remember, what's the name of that game? Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like Thrillville, where you're building a amusement park.
Thrillville was my
So
jam.
in my head, I'm doing that, but it's not an amusement park. It's like a stronghold in the Lord of the Rings universe, and I'm building it up so that it's nigh impregnable. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
All right. Anyways, but also I'm trying to keep it like a little more low key so that we don't get attacked, and I'm also literally just trying to imagine all the different scenarios to protect my keep, to be a good steward of my kingdom. And usually that takes me about 2 minutes and I fall asleep. But I've been building it for years in my mind. And I know that that's probably pretty weird. So I was wondering if you guys had anything like that, or if I'm just a freak.
Brandon is Steve creating in Minecraft.
Are there any attractions in your keep? Anything
no.
to
No,
boost
it is
morale for your troops?
There's a tavern.
Okay.
There's some fields with animals. And no, it's solely survival because we are
Okay.
surrounded by orcs.
Okay.
So they
I
can't
like
get in.
it. I thought a lot like Brandon does currently when I was a child, but my
Get roasted.
actually didn't mean it as a roast. But I meant it as now I don't do anything. I turn on something mind numbing on the TV. Now it's been YouTube. It's been YouTube video game record times and the history of them, like
Speedruns.
documentaries. It was documentaries on speedruns. Turn that on, love it, but I'm also out in minutes, and it annoys Hannah to death. So I kind of turn the brain off once I decide I'm putting that on, and it just turns off. But when I was younger, I would think through and create football games in my head. Like
that's cool.
I would have the plays happen and just like as a movie, I would watch a football game in my head. Don't do it anymore, but maybe I should bring it back.
Yeah, you should. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit jealous. I wish that I could be so productive with my pre-nap or pre-bed thoughts, but usually whenever I try and think of something, it takes all the focus in my body to not lose my train of thought when I'm getting into a relaxed state. But within 30 seconds, typically, of my head hitting the pillow, if I'm remotely tired, I go full ADD mode. Like my brain is thinking of anything and everything and nothing that I want to be thinking about. That, like, if I'm trying to think, okay, how can I improve in this area of my life, or think of anything interesting that I want to like just know more about, I might be able to do that for like 15 seconds, and then it's just complete scatterbrain until I pass out. So I usually fall asleep pretty quick, but I have zero control of any of those thoughts. So I can't think of my stronghold or my apocalypse plans, unfortunately, and it'll probably bite me in the butt before long.
You're always welcome at my lake house. It's
Thanks, brother.
It's the yellow one. You'll know it when you see it.
I hope that we don't have a very strong Chicago listening base, because you might be in trouble with your neighbors.
They'll be fine
For
if
revealing
I have
that
a great
information.
house in Chicago too, as long as they don't try to come back to Paloma.
All right. Well, that's a good shower thought, Bran. We do have a mailbag, as I mentioned, so I do want to make sure we get into that. This one comes from Jerome in the Discord. He says, would you trade Javy right now? Could be time to deal him with his contracts and get something decent, or make a move on a big player, or heck, lock Scooball up. Or do you think he's one of the key pieces of this team now? What do you guys think of that question?
I am offended because Jaren's wording said trade Javy for a key player. Is that the correct wording he said?
And maybe get something decent or make a move on a big player.
Big player. Jaren, Javy is a big player. Biggest contract on the team, and he's playing like it now. I'm not trading him. Javy's been electric. And he's a team player, apparently, which is awesome. just willing to go anywhere on the field. It seems like he's good for the dugout. I'm keeping Javi. I think he could be a key piece like he was in Chicago when the Cubs won the World Series. Javi could be one of those little lightning bolts on this team.
I really didn't like this question because I thought it was a very good question, and it was very difficult for me to come up with an answer. I had to think really hard about it. So great question, Jaron. Um, one of the things that I kept coming back to when I was just reading articles about Javi's resurgence and just how we got to this point in the season with this team. One of the things I kept seeing was just how much this team admires Javi and how much they love him in the dugout. And his resurgence has sort of been emblematic of the resurgence of the Tigers as a whole. He is part of the heart and soul of this team. And so if you were to get rid of Javi, it's going to be a pretty big gut punch to the vibes of this dugout. This is a team built on vibes and talent too. They have some really solid stud players, but I think we'd all, safely say we didn't expect them to be this good by any means going into the season. The vibes are at an all-time high, especially for us as fans too. It was fun, even just listening to the game last night. Another magical walk-off. You never know who's going to be the hero on any given night. And so when you get rid of a player like Javi, I think that is it almost betrays the players a little bit, betrays what they've been able to accomplish up to this point in the season. So, for that reason, I might trade him. um, Another thing I was seeing is just that his expected batting average significantly lower than what his current batting average is. His exit velocity has not been actually very good. And so those two things combined with him still chasing balls makes you think that he is due for regression, makes you feel like he is batting above what he should be right now. So yes, if you're talking about in terms of value, his value does appear to be much higher than maybe it should be. My caveat is right now he is a key player for this team. He is a big player for this team, and this is a team that's contending and should be contending. So if you do deal him, you need to get a star back. It only really depends if you can find somebody out there that can fill that gap at third base. That is their big need. I'm not even giving up on Bregman for next year. So I don't love the idea of trading Javi, but it makes sense if you think you can get a stud during the transfer window.
Could Javi play third?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they maybe don't try him out at third. Obviously, they just demoted Chase Jung. Is it Jung or Young?
I am not going to say definitively.
I almost pulled a Shane Gillis there. Decided not to. I'm not sure. I think it's Jung.
I thought Jung, but then I heard someone say Young, like the J was like a soft, like a Young. But anyways, he is terrible.
I feel like I've heard it both ways.
And you feel bad because you want him to work out as a young player, but he had like 100 batting average. So he was just demoted, and yeah, it does hurt a bit because Bregman really ate us up in that series that we swept them, but Bregman was awesome. There was a really, really cool interaction where the last game Bregman hit off of Skubal 2 at-bats in a row, and both times were on the first or second pitch. And so Skubal yells at Bregman while he's in the dugout, like Bregman's at third base, and he's like, "Take one! Just take one pitch!" So Bregman like laughs him off, but then he takes the first pitch, and then the next pitch he hits it into center field, like gets another hit. So he's kind of a likable guy and really good. I think he hit a home run in each game. So
and was like 3 for 3.
That one does hurt when our third baseman is so bad. So that's where I kind of definitely would say Javi's versatility would be huge because we need a third baseman. But right now he's playing the heck out of center field. I mean, not only is he hitting well, he robbed a home run the other day. He's being an all-around great ball player. So yeah, I would definitely not trade him because he's very useful to the team. And also the point about maybe trading him so that we can pay up for Skubal or a different player like Bregman. Let's not let Chris Ilitch off the hook. There's not a salary cap. So there's no reason, like, you don't have to negotiate around how many star players do I want like you do with the NBA or the NFL. You just pay a luxury tax. And you know what? If anyone can afford it, it's the owner of Little Caesars. I mean, he's fine. Like, pay some luxury tax, get a awesome team that's going to bring a championship to Detroit. So, no, we're not moving a player who's helpful just because we're trying to get another player. Let's just pay the players we have and get better players around them. And if we continue to have the winning culture that we have, I think you're going to attract those guys. Where maybe, you don't have to wait a year to get a Bregman because he wants to come here in the first place. And maybe we could have made the offer that he wanted, which he clearly wanted the shorter term with Boston rather than the long-term term that the Tigers offered. All that to say, no, I would not trade Javy. Jer, I appreciate the question. I also appreciate you trying to call me out in the Discord for the last pod, even though every single one of us said it was crazy for the Tigers to be the second highest odds for the World Series. Also, I don't want to be like a storm cloud, but right now we're winning a lot of games in the last innings or extra innings. It's really fun. I don't know that that's going to hold the entire season, so we're probably due for a regression.
Ooh.
And we'll ride that storm when it happens. Unfortunately, we lost one of our best relief pitchers for the year, so we kind of have to ride that storm that's gonna hit us in the bullpen. But right now, Tigers are the best team in baseball. We'll see where we're at come summertime and then come October. But right now, we're enjoying it and definitely not entertaining any talk of trading Javy. He's got the highest average on the team. We'll take it.
Yeah, well put, Brando Stormcloud. The thing with him playing center field is it's so funny because, he was at an all-time low going into the season. We had some key injuries at center field. So Hinch said, "Hey, are you willing to play center?" And he said, "Yeah, I've always wanted to play center since I was young, but I was stuck in the infield." And so it's just kind of funny this last game against the Sox. They have Javy, who has been a third baseman in all his career, in center field, and we got Zach McKinstry, who's an outfielder playing third base. And so, you wonder if they could just throw McKinstry into center field, but I'm wondering if they just don't want to mess with his mojo right now. Right now, he's playing where he wants to play, and he's playing phenomenally defensively. He's hitting the ball well, and maybe Hinch is a little bit scared to move him back to third base. Maybe he doesn't want to mess with what's going well.
He was playing short, and then Trey Sweeney took his spot.
Short, not
and
third.
Sweeney's been pretty good. I've been happy watching him.
Yeah, I think he could play third base just fine. I did have those positions mixed up there.
What's our catcher's name? The one that's been in here with the mustache, Jake Rogers. Jake Rogers. Yeah. He tweeted the other day at Sweeney, who had a big hit in it was ninth or extra innings that set up the win, and he called him Sydney at the end. Like, this is magic. Good job, Sydney. Which I really like that nickname for Sydney Sweeney.
The only thing I'll say, which shouldn't be the case, but do you think Ilitch would be more inclined to pay a big name because I know there's not a salary cap, but if he wasn't paying for Javy as well, just because you said we're not letting Ilitch off the hook. One of the things that we shouldn't let him off the hook for is the fact that he is usually very hesitant to spend for this team. Not that he doesn't have the means, but that he's cheap. Do we think that it shouldn't even be a point of contention with there not being a salary cap and with the team being in a contending mindset? I guess that was my only point about maybe offloading Javy potentially if you're trying to make a move for another piece. But
that's my whole point is we can't have that mindset of we have to get rid of a good player so we can sign a great player.
We don't have to
just not be cheap. He just has to be either we're going to be a contending championship team or we're going to be a terrible team that doesn't spend money. Like you really can't just moneyball it anymore.
This team could get a good player at the trade deadline and not give up anybody on the current roster. we have enough redundancies, I believe, and giving up maybe a prospect that we don't want to, but no one who's currently making an impact in a redundant spot where I've seen some mock trades. I don't remember for who, but they were only giving up prospects. And
As long as we're not giving up Max Clark.
none of them included him. That would be so dumb. But I think they will be buyers at the trade deadline unless they figure something out internally at third.
Yep, I'm in agreement there. Pony up, spend the dough.
Yeah,
This
spend
team
the
is for
dough,
real.
And we'll buy your dough from Little Caesars. I haven't bought Little Caesars in years. I'll buy it. It kills me. It literally will wreck me from the inside out, and I'll buy it anyways.
You know,
Being a contending buying team.
You know what would kill you even more? Have you ever had the pretzel pizza?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't think it's very good.
Did you do? Was it with the nacho cheese sauce?
Yes.
All right.
That's hard for me to call that pizza.
I mean, it's pretty like atrocious. Like it's a monstrosity. But it's fun, dude. There's something that hits different about it.
The other good thing going on at Little Caesars right now, I know I gave Jaron a hard time in the opening for that question, but shout out to him in the positive because he's the resident Mountain Dew review king, and Little Caesars is the only place to get the Mango Rush Mountain Dew. And Jaron got me on that, so I went and tried it. Super good. I would definitely recommend it.
What did you rate it?
High. I told some people I think it's the drink of the summer.
Ooh. Would you put that A tier?
Yes, with room to adjust, because everything else I've had a chance to get to know really well. I've only had this once, and it was really good that one time. Okay. So I would need to try it again.
Little wiggle room on both ends of the spectrum there.
For sure.
Okay.
But very good. Worth a try.
Yeah.
More money for Illich.
We might need to do our own Mountain Dew rankings at some point on here. One thing that was not mentioned in the intro that we do need to talk about, that we wanted to talk about, is that the Lions are going to play on Christmas. What do you guys think about that?
I love it.
Yeah, I was excited about it. I think that some of the players are a little bit bummed. And that makes sense. Like, you want to spend Christmas with your families. But here's my thinking. I think if I was a player, I would think it would be really special. Also, I'm not a player. I haven't celebrated Christmas on Christmas Day like with my immediate family. I couldn't tell you the last time. It's been over a decade. And you celebrate Christmas on a different day. And you're a football player. You can celebrate Christmas really hard. You can
celebrate
have a great
in July.
Christmas, whatever day you choose. And then Christmas Day, you can spend playing a game you love with your family all in attendance. I think it's really sweet. I'm excited because probably, on Christmas Day, I'll get to watch the Lions. Christmas just got better. So I'm excited for it as a fan. I understand some players don't want it, and I feel bad for those who don't. But also, I think that it's, I don't know. There's a lot worse things in the world than having to play football on Christmas Day. So personally, I love it, and I'm hoping now that I'm okay, Christmas Day, am I going to be able to watch this with Trav and Code, or where's everyone going to be? Because that would be pretty cool to be maybe sitting around the fondue pot just watching football. Maybe not. That sounds a little dangerous.
It sounds beautiful.
Because if I stand up and knock
it over, it's going to be oil flying.
There might be oil flying, and there might be balls flying to JMO as he sprints 80 yards. I'm getting so excited.
Is that game versus the Vikings?
Yeah, Vikings.
So it's J.J. McCarthy, too.
Yeah. Maybe we should just go to it.
Yeah, you think you could...
Is it in Detroit? Or it's probably in
Minneapolis.
All right, let's go.
To all the women in our lives, you think they'd sign on to that?
Do they love us? All right.
Fair question.
Cody, what do you think about this?
Sounds like I'm the only one that doesn't love it, actually. So my first thought was, screw the NBA. That's awesome. Because, you know, Christmas Day is the NBA. I mean, it's Jesus's day first, but in terms of the sports world, it's the NBA. And so I did get a little bit of a giggle and a smile out of the thought of their ratings just plummeting on that day, especially with all the corruption that we're going to talk about later on to this pod. I love seeing the NBA's product spiral a little bit. But I don't know. I think when I think of Christmas, I think it's Jesus, it's family, and then getting the chance to play with your toys. And I imagine it being a little bit tougher to kind of float that to family members. Like, hey, just so you know, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to be sitting in front of this TV watching the Lions and not really interacting as much. I don't know. I think a lot of times we have afternoon family Christmas parties, and it might be a little bit harder to get away and watch the game like I'd want to. If I'm able to do that, then great. You know, it's adding two of my favorite things together, and it's just going to be a mega party. But if not, I'm going to be just frustrated that I'm forced to play shake the ping pong balls out of the Kleenex box attached to my lower back instead of watching the Lions.
Well, the thing about it's hit or miss if you have an extended family Christmas later in the afternoon on Christmas. But if you're able to have that on a different day and your base Christmas is Christmas morning and you're able to after that just chill and know that the Lions are coming on later, Christmas just got even better.
Mm-hmm.
It adds to, we were ranking holidays a little while ago. This adds to that argument for Christmas for me.
Lions are America's team. Playing Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everyone's going to watch those Lions.
It is very fair. I just also feel like, especially one of the silly things about me that I try to hang on to keep myself young. When it comes to Christmas, I try and make sure that I still get toys. Even though I'm 28, I try and avoid getting like useful things as much as possible. There's room for that here and there, but I still want stuff to play with. And you know, as I have more and more like adult responsibilities, I just feel like that time that you get to just play, it just gets faster and faster and less. So I do hear you guys. I think being able to watch the Lions on Christmas would be a lot of fun, but I also love that time when you can just do nothing or play with toys or, you know, hang out with nieces and nephews, play with their toys. Like that's a pretty special time too. And it goes fast.
That is true.
Well, if we don't have any more thoughts on that, we have alluded to it plenty. Recently, the NBA draft lottery took place, and who got the number one pick but the team that everybody thought would get the number one pick with a, 1.8% chance? The Dallas Mavericks. Just like everybody predicted, or maybe everybody should have predicted. Now Dallas, after shipping Luka off to the Lakers, gets to keep all of that momentum that they've had as a team in the past few years. They don't have to bottom out like most teams do to get the number one pick. They get to get Cooper Flag, and they just get to keep surfing along. What are your guys' thoughts on that? How rigged does it feel? How slimy does it feel? I think maybe we've talked about maybe doing a scale for that, like a rigged scale. What are your thoughts on how rigged the NBA is, or more specifically, the NBA draft lottery?
I personally think that this was a step too far, where like you can you can manipulate things behind the scenes and you can have plausible deniability like here and there, but when the Mavericks trade a superstar Luka Doncic for an aging AD and a single first round draft pick
in 2029.
No, I didn't know it was 2029.
Yeah, it's years from now.
That's so bad. To the Lakers, so that LeBron, in the twilight of his career, will have a running mate to maybe help him get another title. And it's a trade that everyone, like literally, people thought when it was reported that Shams Charania, who reports it, they thought he got hacked because it was so implausible. And everyone's like, what in the world? And then they just like, yeah, you get the first pick. It's just it's too unbelievable, and I think that they direct their credibility. Of course, there's going to be some people that are going to say, "Well, it's just the math, and there he could have went somewhere else. It would have been even better for the NBA." No, this is clearly the behind closed doors deal that went down. I mean, you see the picture of the owner of the Mavs when he was like making the side eye at the camera. I feel like he's like, yeah, you people don't know like why I made this trade. I get Cooper Flag. Yeah. To me, it's like, oh, you're just taking the mask off, like Scooby Doo. Like you're just showing who you are. This was a bridge too far, and good job NBA. Now I think everyone with eyes knows just how corrupt it is, and unfortunately, because the Pistons are good now, we're probably still gonna watch. But man, it sucks. And you know what? I got some more data because it's getting really bad when you go back through history with the number one picks. It's not just Cooper Flag. If you go
There's been
back
a lot.
to when so Chris Paul was traded from New Orleans to LA. So when you get a star player that goes to a big market, they got the number one pick. Anthony Davis traded from New Orleans to LA. New Orleans gets the number one pick that year. You got Luka Doncic. Oh, sorry. I got a tornado watch.
Oh, be careful.
When LeBron left Cleveland got the number one pick. It's a pattern. If you have a star player going from the smaller market going to the big market, they're like, don't worry, small market team, we'll get you, on the back side of this. It's like a trade to be determined later. So that's my thoughts. Feel free to tell me I'm stupid, but that's where I'm at.
No, I've seen storylines in WWE that were more convincing than what we saw. Like, it's so obvious. Raise your hand if you think it was on purpose that the WNBA, the NBA did this. Yeah, like usually I'm the conspiracy theorist on it's rigged, and we've went on rants here. You guys are pretty level-headed on this stuff and say, yeah, but it's so clear now. Like, what? So if they can do this, what else are they doing?
Yeah, I in my head I kind of compared this to the DraftKings casino games because like technically they're regulated or like there's regulations that like they can't cheat you out of your money, but like how would anybody know? Like
How would they know?
if you're playing like spin the roulette or slots on DraftKings Casino online, like you should probably not do that. There's better ways than that you can gamble away your money. And so like the NBA draft lottery is technically like regulated. Like they have a law firm that checks to make sure that everything is above board, right? I can't remember the specific name of the law firm. Apparently, like that law firm has like gotten in trouble for fraud in the past. Like
That's
it's not
so
even
funny
it's
because
not even a reputable law firm.
the same exact thing. I looked into this with the NHL because I was really upset about the NHL lottery. So they're like, that's their big defenses. We've got a auditing company to make sure this thing's legit. And there is a laundry list a mile long of every single time that company has been shown to have committed fraud. It's like if you could pick a company to audit so that you could commit fraud, you'd pick that company. So the NHL does it, the NBA does it. It's clear as day. I didn't know that about the NBA. I knew the NHL one, and the NBA is doing the exact same thing. It's like,
same thing.
Come on, guys, get original material.
Right. But what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna keep watching as long as your team's good. So
people watch the WWE at record numbers. They sell out stadiums every week, and they know it's fake. Sorry if you don't. Two.
Shut up, Trav.
When cheating is rampant, fans still watch. So I would say this is cheating on the association side, not the players, but we just want to be entertained deep down. We know. We just said we know. So if the NBA came out and said, yes, we did this, we'd go, oh, rabble. But probably the ratings would still be pretty good.
Here's the thing, though. Like, people are more or less willing to accept something as long as it falls in line with what they already believe it to be. So, more, I would say, effectively put, for a mind like my own, if a soldier dies at war, you know, no one cares. But if a senator dies, everyone loses their minds. Because you expect soldiers to go die at war, but somebody who's in political office, you don't expect that. But it's the same thing. It's sad. It's tragic. Loss of life is bad and sad, but you don't expect it. We expect WWE to be fake and rigged, and so we're okay with it. It's entertaining. It's fine. But the NBA, they're not admitting to this. They're saying, it's the math checks out. It's look at
ping
all
pong
these
balls.
other. Exactly, it's the ping
Mhm.
pong balls. How can you rig that? And I think that's really going to rub people the wrong way. The fact that they're so coy about it, and they think that they can just do this so blatantly and nobody will call them out on it. Or maybe they know people will call them out on it, but they don't care because they're just going to watch anyways. And I think there's going to be, I think it's going to bite them a little bit. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are sick and tired of how corrupt this league is. And I think that's going to hurt their numbers.
The levels someone would have to go to be able to prove that this really was corrupted. And no, it's hard to do. No one's gonna be able to do it. They have that law firm that's protecting them. Like it's worth it to them, an easy ploy to run, because even if people dig into it, it's gonna be really hard to prove, and there's always gonna be deniability. So you convinced me, Code.
Well, have you guys seen the increased talks just from different personalities about how the NFL should adopt a lottery system for the draft? I'm still trying to figure out if that's like rage bait or if there's people out there that
Schefter
actually
reported it.
They're planting the seeds right now because Adam Silver called up Roger Goodell and just said, dude, you see the
He
ratings
said,
we're
like,
having right now?
Why are you sending Travis Hunter to Jacksonville when he could play for Kansas
You know
City?
he could be playing in Dallas right now if you
exactly.
did this. Yeah.
That's
Good
scary
said.
stuff.
All right, Schefter, send out the word.
It will happen. We just broke news a year too early. The NFL draft will go to a lottery.
Tanking isn't a problem in the NFL, and the numbers, the ratings for the NFL are leaps and bounds ahead of the NBA, and they are risking all of that.
That's probably why they haven't done it yet. But the rich always want to get richer
to implement that. You're killing the golden goose.
Yeah, but more control.
Well, maybe that bleeds into our next question. Which league truly is the most corrupt of the major?
Before we do that, can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So you're Nico Harrison. You are offered Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, and I guess a 2029 first round pick. For Luka. Do you take that, or do you think that it's a better deal to just keep Luka?
It's still a better deal to keep Luka, because in Flagg you have somebody who could be a generational player. Luka is a generational player. You don't just give that up. And I know there were talks of maybe they were frustrated with him a little bit. The dude likes to frequent McDonald's a bit too often. Not even just in the off season. Like, this dude could be, one of the best players we ever see if he just cared about his health and fitness. That said, you still don't give him up for what they got. I think, they got completely bailed out, or at least maybe that was just the deal that they made, whatever. But Luka's the better side of that trade.
Trav, you're muted.
You're muted, bro.
I think Luka holds more promise, and every sunset holds more peace for the Mavericks. Brandon,
Well
just
said.
shout out to your new
Can't
setting.
say what I want to say, so I'll just say
I really like your setting.
very poetic.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
for
I'm
for the audio listeners and Cody, Brandon's got a beautiful sign above his head.
It's like, what the heck are you talking about, bro?
Trev, you are on record as not liking the signs with the words on
I
them.
had to call it out because if anyone watches this and knows that about me, word signs are the worst home decor there is.
Well, for the record, I'm not at my house.
Yeah, take a suck of that, Mrs. Bishop.
Oh man! But after you did say that, I had to remember. I think we have 2 word signs in our house. I was like, oh, Trev would hate those. I think one says family.
Oh no, I've
Yeah.
got one on the wall over here that says "I love you to the moon and back."
Wow. Talk
Blech.
about cheesy.
Yeah, that's rough. That's the only one I see in here.
Sounds like we're all on the Luca is a better option. And I understand what Cody's talking about with like the health frustration, which I get. At the same time, Luca has been somewhat durable, correct? Like he hasn't missed a ton of basketball, I don't think.
He went to the NBA Finals last year.
Yeah. So I don't think it's been a problem yet as he's still young. Maybe as he gets older, he'll have to tighten that up a little bit. But I was actually reading an article. I don't remember about which Tigers pitcher it was, but he was doing an interview because he's kind of got a longer career. And about like how he's been able to be in the pros for so long. And he said, well, you can't pull fat. And like it's like sometimes some of the doughboys, like they have the longevity because like I don't know, it just works for them. It's working for Luca. I personally would have let that slide until it becomes an issue.
Those European superstars, they put on weight when they come here and then they dominate. So
yeah,
it works for them.
Jokic isn't exactly a picture of athleticism. But
You
man,
see him when
is
he was a rookie though? He was so skinny. So he did the same thing as Luka did. He's just winning MVPs and going a little bit further in the playoffs right now. Do you think it's fair that Jokic doesn't get as much crap as Luka does for the Americanized body?
That's a good point. No, I guess it makes sense because he's a big man. Maybe we're used to seeing that. We're not used to seeing maybe the guard / forward being a little chunky. So,
Yeah.
But Cody, we can get back to what you were saying. Who's the most corrupt? I know my answer.
Well, yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that because we're talking about the potential of the NFL adopting the lottery, and if they were to do that, then like I feel like that seals it in my mind. But I'm curious what you guys are thinking because I'm not totally sure.
I feel like I have maybe the answer, so you guys should answer first.
Trav, do you know?
It's hard to pick one.
It's true.
We just saw what happened in the NBA lottery. And if you watch any of these playoff games, almost any, I think we discovered in our last pod why a 20-point deficit is comebackable, the refs. So they're controlling. I think they're controlling the outcome of the playoff games a bit too, at least keeping it close. So
they do that for sure.
Rating buffing. That's 2 strikes for the NBA. But the NFL, you watch any playoff game or Super Bowl, there's game controlling calls in all of those as well. So most corrupt is FIFA. It just came to me.
Yeah.
FIFA is the most corrupt, and they got called out for it officially.
What are they corrupt in what way?
Taking money to host different places, and I forget everything that happened with them, but the higher ups, the board of FIFA and the president, he had some like official illegal corruption going on.
Oh, I knew that about FIFA. I guess I was thinking more like
Major U.S. sports
integrity of the sport, more like
Oh,
than
okay.
like, oh hey, like we don't care about your like blood money. And
Yeah,
how
they're
many
more like
slaves you have.
mafia.
We'll let you host this.
Yeah, but the one that
Qatar.
controls the game the most, I think
This
I
podcast
think
just got blacklisted in Qatar.
Oh no!
I'm gonna go with the NFL. I think I got my recency bias glasses on with the NBA. The lottery for sure has painted it that way for me too. But when you watch the NFL, like they just it's so bad.
It is
I
bad.
think the NBA and the NFL are the same. The NFL is just better at hiding it. When you
Hmm.
look at the calls in an NFL game, you got holding, which happens on every play. It just depends on when they want to call it. And you've got all sorts of different flags penalties that are a little bit more easy to explain, I guess. I mean, in basketball, sure, you got the charge block like type situation that could go either way. But after watching, maybe I do have the recency bias going on, but you could just watch one of those NBA playoff games. You could watch Asar Thompson trying to guard Brunson with his arms down by his sides, only standing near Brunson as he takes a shot and getting called for a foul. Like, I don't think, especially with the lottery, the NBA is near as good at hiding their corruption. I think the NFL is very corrupt too, and I guess I'm changing to the NBA because the corruption is clear. With the NFL, I still I give a lot of credence to the idea of scripts and all that, but it's still just it's tinfoil hatty and you don't full send it always. You're like, all right, that kind of makes sense, whatever. I hate them. I think they definitely coordinate a lot of things behind the scenes, but it's not to the extent of the NBA. The NBA's ratings have plummeted, and they are desperate to gain control, and they don't really care how obvious it looks.
I think the answer's easily the NBA. Unless you guys can name another league that you could name one of the officials who was caught by the FBI for officiating games that he was placing bets on.
Yeah,
Do you guys remember his name?
No.
Tim Donaghy.
Yes,
I can never forget his name because it's like, oh, that's really bad. And maybe you're like, well, that happened, years back. Just like 2 nights ago, Draymond was fined for yelling at the refs, 5.5, because he fouled out and he was saying to the refs, they knew what the spread was and they're trying to make sure that they get that. And what's funny to me about that is I don't think Draymond's necessarily a reliable narrator, but the NBA fined him $50,000, which for the crime is a really small amount because he's accusing officials of blatantly tampering with the game outcome. And the NBA fines him because they don't want him to do it, but they don't want to make it a huge fine because they don't want to put attention on this. They want this to go away. No spotlight. We don't want people to have any knowledge that Draymond's saying 5.5. You know what you're doing. 5.5. So it's something the players are definitely aware of. There's a lot of videos of players for the team that makes the 3-pointer, players on the bench cringing because they've got action on the game. Like they're like, oh, that was too many points. The NBA is so corrupt, and that's not to take away from the NFL, who is also so corrupt. I think that you have made your points well there, Trav. NHL is corrupt. MLB, I think we need to give the MLB its flowers because there was a time when the MLB was tossing out dead balls and live balls, depending on who they wanted to hit home runs. There was a time where players were hitting balls that, based on the exit velocities and the launch angles, that they should not have flown as far as they did. And mathematically, they're like, that ball flew 50 feet further than it should have. Huh, that's weird. And it happened to be the players that were in a home run chase to break records at the end of the year. Or happened to be players that were, going to retire soon. And all of a sudden, some that usually are pop flies are going out. the MLB is so corrupt too. So they're all corrupt, but I'm gonna give first place to the NBA. So if there's a best cheating corruption league, I give it to NBA. Although we have to give flowers to the FIFA and MLB and NFL as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for not letting MLB skate by in this segment.
Yep.
It's so bad.
So bad. If you have an umpire named Angel,
Oh
who
no.
you just let him do what he wants with barely a slap on the wrist for when he blows historic moments, you got problems.
Yep.
And now also recently, it's kind of a flip back. Pete Rose was reinstated. You guys see that? And now eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Cowards. Waited till he was gone.
I do hate that. It's like,
Cowards.
okay, now he's dead, so whatever, right?
For a guy too who, yes, he bet on the game bad. Show me where his effort lacked.
Yeah,
It didn't.
Did they always say that he only bet on himself or like his team to win?
Right. It was
So
never.
I personally think like, hey man, he was the best player there ever was, so like it was helping him. Dude was working it.
Yeah, extra motivation. He did nothing that hurt his team or the league.
I mean,
It's-
if betting on yourself makes you hit 400 for average, maybe we got to get some Tigers some action.
I mean, it's not the greatest, but like it's not any worse than like what Nancy Pelosi does, and she's in Congress. So like,
That's way worse. That's way
yeah,
worse.
that's what I'm saying. So like, let him into the Hall of Fame. I don't care. It is kind of like insider trading a little bit in that like he has that knowledge of how good his team is really practicing and how well they're able to do. Still way better than point shaving or any other types of gambling when you're gambling against your team or anything like that.
As long as you're betting on yourself, though, to like for the higher, like you're betting the over or
Yeah, I thought
like-
this was America. Aren't you supposed to
yeah, I thought
bet
this
on
was
yourself?
America.
Better yourself and put invest in your small business. What are we talking about here? This is like North Korea.
I mean, I'm for it.
There are actually what do you call it? UFC fighters that they do bet on themselves, and I think that's actually legal
I love
for
that.
them to do that.
Makes sense.
Unfortunately for them, a lot of them will end up losing because it's like they have so much confidence in themselves, and then they bet what they would have like won in prize money, so then they're just like in the negative. It's like, oh, that's awful.
That is
But I get it,
confident,
like-
though.
Yeah, gotta have that
That's-
mentality.
That's such a dangerous slope. You think of the type of mentality you need to have to be a UFC fighter. Like,
I will kill him. Punch to the face, dropped.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you got CTE and make worse bets the next time
Right.
around.
I feel like Dana's got to protect these dudes a little
Never
bit.
lose twice.
Oh, man. Guys, got any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
Is that all we had?
I think that's everything.
We gotta do Jones in 4.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. What are you guys jonesing for?
I got a lot.
I
Yeah?
just
Rattle
learned
them
what
off.
rice cakes are. I thought they were like the little like crunchy croutony, not croutons, but like those dry things that you buy in like a bread loaf. But I just learned they're pretty much like noodles. I think I'm saying that's rice cakes, but they're like almost. I had cheesy ones, and it was kind of in like it looked like mac and cheese, but was like a ramen based. Loved it. I have been jonesing for more of those.
Are you sure that they're not the crunchy things?
Maybe they are. Let me mute myself and yell for my wife real quick.
right.
I would
he's
say,
already
like, as the weather has just gotten nicer and nicer, I've been jonesing to get out on the water and get a line wet. Specifically, I love that early action when you're throwing like a Cinco and you let it sink, and then you watch the line like slowly tighten and then zip off, and you know that you got one on. That's like, oh,
All right.
that's a dopamine rush.
I've got my wife here real quick. What are those cheesy noodle thingies called? They're not rice cakes? Rice cakes?
Yeah.
What are the dry ones called?
Dry what?
Like a dry patty looking thing. Comes in a bread loaf.
Rice.
It's a rice pat.
bun.
Oh. Okay. I think they're rice cakes. Thank you.
Well, for all you that were wondering, now you know.
Do we have more?
I think there's multiple.
No, it's
types.
okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
They're rice cakes, and that's what I'm jonesing for.
And
Love
Cody's
it.
jonesing for fishing. I have a lot I'm jonesing for. Cody mentioned the weather. The weather has made me want to get out on the golf course, and unfortunately, I haven't gotten out yet because right now the thought of golf is positive, but I know as soon as I get out, the action of golf will be negative.
Yep.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to update you after my first round to see how bad it is. Lately, my jonesing for has been for food. And this week, I made something that I think Cody would be especially a fan of. It was okay. So it's technically like a chicken pot pie, but it's not a pot pie because instead of the pie crust, you use Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Oh,
So picture like all the filling, like you got the cheese and the chicken and the vegetables and like the brothy stuff of a pot pie filling. And then
Yeah.
you put that in the casserole dish, and then you top it with Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. So the top is like the crispy biscuits, and then you just like put it in a bowl, and it was super good
you made this recently?
this week. Yeah, it was
Oh.
awesome.
Wow.
I also made one of the best. It was a pork shoulder butt. That's what they call it. I
Whoa.
think it's a Boston pork roast is what they call it. Something like that. Anyways, I put a lot more effort than I usually put into it. And I got up super early in the middle of the night because it needed like 10 hours. So I did, maybe it was like 9 hours, but I did a half hour at like 450 in the oven in a roaster. So it got nice and crispy on the outside. And then I turned it down to like 225, 250 and let it go for like 8 or 9 hours after that. It was fall apart tender and the best pork I think I've ever made.
Mm.
And I made it when the Bishops came over for dinner. And they said, Brandon, you got to sell this. It's that good. And I've never got that response to my food before. So,
You're turning into such a good dad, Bran.
well, unfortunately, all the foods I like to eat, though, are not healthy. And my doctor says I got to look at my cholesterol. And you know what? Pork's not great for that. So it's a struggle for sure.
Well, just make it for me instead. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
So definitely the pork ones to make again for sure. But yeah, the chicken one is super easy. So I could say that recipe. I think I got to send you that egg casserole recipe as well. I think Bree told me.
Yeah.
The other thing
I-
I've jonesing for, I just finished Invincible TV series, season 3. They're gonna make a season 4 eventually, but it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was really intense. Like there's a part where, like, I'll just say, I thought a really key character was gonna die. I was like really in it. And also it's funny at the same time, which is kind of bizarre to have that intensity and humor present. So if you're into superheroes, but also it's pretty brutal. Like, I mean, they'll punch through someone's face, like legit punch through their face. It's animation. It's not real people. But,
Good
oh, man,
caveat there.
on Amazon Prime, it was super, super good.
I
so
concur.
I was like really almost sad when it was over. I was like, man, I gotta wait forever before season 4 comes out. Oh, man, it was great.
They made a little spin-off about Eve. Not quite as good.
Is
But-
it just one episode though?
Yeah, is it 1 or 2?
Okay, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it.
But it's kind of interesting. A little bit of origin story.
Yeah, well, she's she's awesome.
she's a
super
baller.
powerful. I really dig it when a character, kind of like Doctor Strange when he fights Thanos, like a character that has a lot of powers and they use them very creatively. I really dig that, and she's kind of in that wheelhouse with her powers.
So you really like Green Lantern as well?
I gotta be honest, I like that movie more than the average person.
Yes.
You telling me I'm outnumbered here?
The thing is, I don't know if it would hold up if I was to watch it again, because I think we watched
I think you'd
that
like it more
while
now.
we were in Cadillac in vacation, and so maybe the aura of being on vacation might have tinged my memory of it. I don't know.
I
Cody
think
and I
Blake
have had-
Lively tinged your memory of it, and that's it.
I am
Yeah,
a fan
that's
of love,
fine.
and that's where they fell in love, isn't it? Is it not, when they were on that movie? I felt like they had good
Yeah.
chemistry, so
They did.
I'm a fan of good chemistry. I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Amazing Spider-Man, which is a not popular opinion, and it's pretty much solely because Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have insane chemistry in that movie.
Also, Andrew Garfield is hilarious as
He
Spider-Man.
is.
Have you ever watched the SNL skit where both of them are in it and they do the kissing scene?
No.
Mm-mm.
Worth a watch. I won't spoil it for you because it's only like a 3-4 minute watch. So watch it tonight. Worth it. It's really
Alright.
funny.
Okay.
But I agree. I think we all agree. We all like that Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
I know Cody did. He was giving
Yeah.
us crap about Blake Lively. He was the
That
Emma
is
Stone
very-
fan.
That is very, very different. I'm not giving crap to Blake Lively. I'm just saying that doesn't save the fact that movie was written terribly. Hal Jordan, the whole time, is just a whiny punk like, oh, I don't want responsibility. I don't want the ring. I don't want to save the world. And it's just like
Yeah, character
everything is... No, he didn't have character growth. He made one decision the entire movie. He was finally like, okay, fine, I'll do it. There's like...
growth. Big decision.
But that was it. That was the only genuine act break in the entire movie.
A reluctant
The rest of
hero.
it- The rest
Tale
of
as
the
old
movie
as
was just
time.
him just being reluctant the whole time. It was horrible.
How did you feel about the gross villain guy in that one?
I kind of like him.
I genuinely don't remember him.
Bar Sinister. Oh,
Yeah, when the evil...
he just has a forehead that continues to grow more and more deformed.
And they did
and,
a
like,
great job
veiny.
of making it look really deformed and veiny.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's reminding me of that guy in the Ant-Man movie, MODOK, and I hated
Very
him.
different.
So if it's anything like that, I was like, oh, maybe I wouldn't like that movie as much as I remember.
MODOK was just so weirdly cartoony. This was like very realistically grotesque.
MODOK, though, great card in Marvel Snapped.
I haven't played that in a long time.
I haven't either. I'm not going to. I can't. It'll take over my life.
Probably a good call there. What's
Kinda
the
fun, though,
new?
to have someone take over your life a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we've all agreed we hyperfixate. I think
Mhm.
I don't know what you're talking about.
that's a curse of ours.
Last pressing question for you guys. Hannah and I are thinking about maybe getting a Switch down the road. Nintendo Switch.
Well, there's
Worth
a
it?
Switch 2 coming out.
Yeah, should we wait? Just real quick. Not to extend this, but would you recommend it?
What are you going to use it for?
Good question.
Playing games?
Are you gonna use it to the extent that you've used your PS4?
Yeah.
Hey, I put in pretty good hours on PDGA 2K. I forget which version it was, but played a lot of golf. But yeah, I haven't played that in a long time. Golf and baseball. I'm a big sports game guy, and I know
You had
the Switch
access
is
to
not
What
good
kind
for
of
sports
games do you wanna
games.
play?
and didn't play any of that.
I don't know, Mario games. All of them are great.
I will say, like, the Switch is good for couples. Like,
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
if
as
if
a couple
you
system.
have a non-gamer spouse or significant other, like, they're probably not going to be as into the offerings of like a PS or Xbox. Switch has a lot of good. You can find them on like good couple games on any system, but I feel like the Switch does it exceptionally well.
That's what we
You got like
thinking.
the Mario titles. Untitled Goose Game, a real good one. Brooke and I got into.
I love my Switch. Just if you have children, just don't let them
Throw it in the
ever-
bathtub.
let them have it and then
Too
let
soon,
them throw it in the
Trev.
bathtub. So
Yeah, it's rough.
then you will lose every single one of your Pokemon.
Yeah, but you got a
Uh,
Steam Deck now, right?
No cloud storage. For Pokemon, that is. Yeah, Steam Deck is sweet. Except I still don't have time to play it.
That's so sad for the people that like don't know anything about that story. That like your entire archive of like Pokemon collected in every game. All
Well, I probably have a decent amount in the bank, but I had pretty much every single one that I like intentionally leveled up and trained and raised was in
Okay.
that game.
it's like all your
Um,
competitive ones, basically.
Yes, the ones that I have been accruing for literally like a decade.
R.I.P.
They have been lost into the universe. Just
Would you
little-
say they were electrocuted or
fragments.
drowned?
Huh. Drowned. for
Wow.
sure, yeah.
What a freaking brain twister to end the pod, Code.
Sorry.
I think
Maybe I can get my water
electrocuted.
types back.
Yeah, I think they were electrocuted.
Dang. so the electric types were drowned and the water types were electrocuted.
That's the right answer. Yeah.
Oh.
Whatever's maximally effective.
Well, that was the
Super
bathtub.
effective. Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you
It's
have
unfortunate because that was my choice after Michigan lost to TCU. Cody said, I'm going to get in shape. I said, I'm going to catch one of every Pokemon ever created. And I was about 19 Pokemon short at the time. Was just waiting to get one of the DLCs that I could then get the remaining 19. And Eden said, no, father.
it. That hits so hard because I was just thinking, what would hit harder? That pursuit being 19 away, all the effort that you put into catching all the Pokemon, only for them to be electrocuted and drowned, or if I woke up one day and I was 35 pounds heavier just overnight. And honestly, I think what happened to you would be more devastating. Because
There's some body horror to the whole 35 pounds in one night, but you know you could do it again.
I could do it again.
I can't do it again. I don't have it in me. I haven't even played a Pokemon game since.
Oh,
It's just it's out of
R.I.P.
me.
dude.
what a downer.
Yeah.
It's like when you lose a spouse, like you have a grieving period, and I'm not out of that period yet. In my case, it was literally like 1,000.
A
1,000 loved ones.
Pretty one-to-one comparison there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you don't get married the day after the funeral. You wait.
I don't
And
know.
I might be a widow. I might never get back on that horse.
Some people are crazy with it. Like, there's all that talk of like my one and only, but then they get super lonely, and within a year, boom, married again.
No, I'm just lonely and sad.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
This is true love.
Brand, just remember, every sunset holds more peace.
Not for my Pokemon. They're dead. All my shinies.
There's no sunset at the bottom of the tub.
No. Thanks a
Oh,
lot,
boy.
Nintendo.
All right, Code, take us home.
If you've stuck with us for this long, you're a trooper, or you're just as weird as we are. But regardless, we're thankful for you, and we appreciate all your guys' interaction with the pod. Shout out Jaron for the mailbag question. Love to see more of those from all of you guys in the future. Get in the Discord if you aren't already. There's plenty of fun and engaging sports conversation happening on the daily. You can access that through any of our socials. Let us know what you're jonesing for. Let us know if you'd trade hobby. Let us know what you're thinking. We love hearing from you guys. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Jonesing for Sports podcast, and we will catch you in the next one.